Uh, Welcome to Podro Pascal, a Pedro Pascal podcast. I'm your co-host, Rachel Leishman.
I'm your other co-host, Catrina Dennis.
Oh my god, let's not that's right out the top. Um, we are here to record episode 7, known as Left Behind of The Last of Us. And this is the first of at least 2 episodes we're doing this week. Because we
Mhm.
also have The Mandalorian coming up. There's some big stuff happening this week.
Oh yes,
That
big
Catrina
stuff.
is doing tomorrow, which
Well,
this
I
will
feel
drop
like
on. So
by the time this drops, people will
tomorrow,
know
yeah.
what I'm doing tomorrow. So yeah, keep an eye out.
I will say, I want to say at the top, because our friend Ash, not producer Ashley, but our friend Ash Krasan, who, does interviews and is a really big deal because we have cool friends. She is a journalist and an interviewer for Entertainment Tonight. Did quote us earlier today saying that no one knows what Petro's outfit is going to be tomorrow, not even him, because he lost some of his stuff in London. So
Oh
it's
my
going to be.
gosh.
I can look up. Hold on, yeah. Ash quote tweeted us because I got the notification and I was like, "What did I tweet that Ash quote tweeted?" And then I realized it was she had quote tweeted Podro.
Mhm.
And I was like, what did we say? And so our producer, Ashley, who runs our Twitter account,
Mhm.
said, what color do y'all think Pedro will wear for the Mandalorian premiere?
Mm.
And that is when Ash Croissant quote tweeted it.
What color do you think he's gonna wear?
I mean, I always would. I mean, green was a popular choice because it is Mando.
Mhm.
I'm gonna go deep purple just to be funny. But what do you think before I click on what Ash quote tweeted this with?
Neon pink. I think
Yeah,
bright neon pink.
go back to the variety days.
Mhm. Mhm.
So as Ash's tweet that I just pulled up says, important reporting. Pedro left some of his outfit in London and now has to pivot and start from square one.
Oh my gosh. Oh man. But you
So
know what?
straight from the source.
His stylist is a genius, as has been proven time and time again, and I'm sure that whatever his team pulls out will be incredible.
I hope
So
it's one time I went to an event and the person didn't like the outfit someone picked, and so they went to H&M and just like cut the lining out of an outfit and like made this dress. And me and my boss were both like,
what?
"You look great, but that's crazy." I hope it's a situation like that. Like someone just goes into like a Target and they're like,
Yeah.
"We
We have
got."
some killer thrift stores in LA.
Someone just
So
yeah, someone goes into like Ralph's and they find a white
yeah.
T-shirt and they're like, "I'm gonna run this through some onions, get some cool coloration."
I'll let everybody
Yeah, and then
yeah.
call it Gucci. We don't know what he's currently wearing tomorrow. This
Mhm.
will probably drop either like right before the premiere or like hours in advance. I don't know what producer Ashley's gonna do. She will yell at us when she listens to this later. But yeah, so we don't know. Important reporting from our good friend Ash Krasan. He doesn't even know. Yeah, and so the Mando premiere is happening on Tuesday, February 28th. Look out for people that
Mhm.
you know there. Not me, I'm in New York, but look out for
Familiar
some
faces
people.
that you may know that may be on screen right now.
Yeah,
Possibly.
someone could be there. And someone might be
Either.
throwing
Someone's been getting
wearing a
text messages for the past 5 minutes of people landing in LA. So
yeah, some people and also maybe some friends of this pod and some future friends because one of our good friends, Arzu, is maybe going. We don't know.
we don't know.
Um,
We have no idea what's happening tomorrow. It's a Tuesday.
and maybe Maggie, a good friend of the pod and prospect. I have to tell that story. Katrina, how have you been?
Amazing. Good. Wonderful. LA, as you know, as you have experienced this past week, had some unprecedented weather.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been a little adventurous, but I went to Disney over the weekend with my boyfriend and some friends, and that was super fun. It was just nice to get to the parks, and I was thankful for my East Coast upbringing because when it started raining, all the tourists and Californians fleed inside to inside shows, and I was like, let's get on some rides, and we waltzed into the Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, which is a
Mm-hmm.
brand new ride that the wait times never go under 80 minutes, and we walked in and we were on it in 15. So Pretty great. I feel good and tough. How about you, Rachel? You did some stuff this weekend.
Yeah, so I went to the Hollywood Critics Association Awards because I'm a member of the Hollywood Critics Association. I brought my mom because she wanted to go to an award show and she talked about it my whole life. So I brought her. We went to LA. It was on Friday, and so
Mhm.
that night I met Ryan Johnson. I met Kiwi Kwan, which were like my two goals. I knew Ryan Johnson was going to be there. I said, I was like, oh, I want to go talk to Ryan. I talked to him. It was really nice. And then I learned that day that Kiwi Kwan was going to be there. And I was like, I texted my best friend and I said to her, I'm going to say one quote to you, and that's who I might meet tonight. And I said, it's 007, not 00 negative. And she was like, oh my God, you're going to meet Data? And I was like, yeah. And so then my friend Therese had to basically like do the like, have you met my friend Rachel to him? Because I was like on the verge of crying as soon as I like walked up, just because I was
Oh.
like, I grew up loving Indy and the Goonies, and so I was freaking out. But I did. Sophie Thatcher was there, and she walked by my table at one point. I was like, Sophie, I'm so sorry. I just want to say, like, I love Prospect. I was like, I love Yellow Jackets and everything you've done said, but like, I love Prospect. And she was like, oh my God, thanks. And I was like,
Oh.
Prospect. It was crazy. And then last night I left. I rewatched the episode of The Last of Us in the airport on
Mhm.
an iPad because my flight got delayed so many hours and I was just sitting there.
As the
Um,
creators intended.
yeah,
Yeah.
just literally sitting on the airport floor. Didn't realize that Harrison Ford's son had a restaurant I could have been sitting at the entire time. Instead, I was just sitting on the floor
Mhm.
watching The Last of Us. It was very exciting. It is very funny that I literally came home before like a lot of my friends ended up going to LA. So it was like
Mhm.
I just traded places, and I was like, man, could have seen like so many of my friends still.
Mhm.
Last
I'm
of
sad I didn't get to see you, but at least I was able to send you a little Valentine.
that I couldn't eat because it was strawberry.
Oh no, I didn't know. I'm so
It's okay.
sorry.
It's okay. I gave it to my mom ate it, but it was so funny because Ashley handed it to me. I was like, that's really sweet. I can't have any of this. She went, oh, strawberry. Because I
I'm
did get
so
to see producer
sorry.
Ashley for dinner, and then she ran around with us on Saturday because I wanted to go do all of my dumb bits I do every time I'm there.
Mhm.
Like go to the Hollywood Walk of Fame, something I've done numerous times because I lived there. But I
Mhm.
go and take a picture with Paul Rudd's star as a joke. And then I took a picture with John Favreau's star this time, just like bent
Nice.
down posing with it because I wanted to.
Yeah.
In the rain because it was
Nice.
raining the entire time. It was very fun, and now I'm exhausted. Now Katrina has a busy week.
Yes.
I got a busy day tomorrow. Time doesn't stop for the busy.
It really doesn't. Really doesn't. But for a moment, we could go back in time and talk about Ellie's path in this
Yes, so
episode.
we are talking about episode 7. I
Mhm.
almost said episode 7, The Last of Us. Episode 7 of The Last of Us, Left Behind.
Mhm.
If you ever watched it or you didn't play this part of the game, what are you doing?
Yeah.
It was a special like section of the game titled Left Behind. That's why the episode is called Left Behind.
Mhm.
That explains the story about how Ellie got infected essentially and introduces you to Riley, her quote unquote friend that she was with
Mhm.
at the
Best
time.
friends.
Oh my God, they're friends.
Best
Like the
friends. You leave best friends. Best friends.
yeah,
I
HBO Max
I
tweeting
will
that best
highlight the
friend
fact.
stare.
Yeah. I will highlight the fact that for like any recovering like Christian child, this episode title may be triggering, but I promise you that it is nothing like that. And Kirk Cameron is not in this episode. You're safe. I promise.
Could you, could you imagine? That'd be bad. Um, that would be
No.
horrible. Um, so this episode is takes place. So if you recall, the last episode after they leave Jackson Hole, Joel gets stabbed,
Mhm.
and so Ellie is basically taking care of him, gets him to like this neighborhood of houses that are still standing, but obviously no one's in them, and like lays him down. And as he's like bleeding and she's nervous he's gonna die, she like runs off because she gets basically triggered over
Mhm.
losing someone, and she's like standing there with nothing to do. And it takes us back to when she was a child listening to Pearl Jam on a Walkman and running around at the gym at school.
Mm-hmm.
And there's her Walkman. But yeah, so it's all in flashback as kind of just like a way to tell her story while Joel is in pain, which is kind of how it is in the game. Like I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
it's how it is framed.
Yeah,
Like,
we don't get a lot of Pedro this episode
mm-mm.
because he's busy trying not to die. But I'm glad that we like. I mean, this episode was just like the definer, I think, for Bella Ramsey. Like we've always known they were an incredible actor, like from the Leanna
Mm-hmm.
Mormont days, and I think that like this episode gave them like such a great platform to shine, and it's one I've been waiting for even though I knew my Fifis would be deeply hurt. So
Yeah, like we said, Joel basically looks dead this entire episode. He's just like laying on the ground, like, I'm bleeding. I'm bleeding. And she's like, no. And so
Who's my
the whole
favorite?
oh no, I'm bleeding. Can someone help me? LA, LA, I'm bleeding. Hi. This
Oh.
is why Disney's gonna be like, only one of you can come to this. Disney watched our last episode. We were going, oh my god, and they said one of you can come.
You get exactly
You
one.
get one.
You better be
One
on
of
your
you.
best behavior.
You're gonna see him go, oh my god, Badro.
Oh my god.
I hope here's what I want for Ashley when she listens to this. I want her to hear this, and then I want you to meet him and have a video of you meeting him and handing him the button, and then cut it with me going, "Oh my god, Bandra!
Oh my god, he's got our button.
Oh my god, he's our bun. I'm from Podro Pascal.
Oh my god, my abs.
I can't breathe.
Oh.
Okay. Yes. So this episode, Last of Us, is very sad. You wouldn't know from us laughing, but it's very depressing. We're laughing through our tears. Because the whole idea is that Harold, they're lesbians. Ellie and her crush,
Mhm.
and who would be her girlfriend, you know, if the world didn't suck, Riley. Um, we get to see their story. I said Harold, they're lesbians because if you look online, it is so much funny the amount of people who were like, "Why did they make Ellie gay? Why is Ellie kissing a girl?" And it's like, did you? What do you mean make her?
I'm sorry, fake nerds, but if you didn't play the video game, that's your fault. Like, they didn't make Ellie gay. She's been
She's
gay.
been gay,
She's
but
she's
also
been gay for over a decade.
the
Sorry that
HBO
you couldn't Google.
the HBO Max Twitter account said that best friend stare, and I was just like, Harold, Harold, they're lesbians.
Yep.
The show takes us through like when she runs off because she's like, oh no, triggering Joel dying. I don't like it. She's running a gym and like she gets in a fight at like the Fedra school because this girl was being kind of an ass to Ellie. And by kind of I mean like full blown like just ass to Ellie because they were like, well, your friend's gone, so there's no one who's gonna beat us up for you. So
Mhm.
Ellie, in true Ellie fashion, just punches this girl in the face. And it's like, okay.
Bethany.
Yeah, Bethany.
Bleh.
And so Ellie gets in trouble, goes to the principal. He's basically like, you keep acting up like this, you're going to end up working for someone like Bethany and like doing the worst kind of jobs. But he was like, you're smart. Like, if you take this, yada, yada, yada. So she like basically is like, all right, fine. I'm going to start being like a good Fedra kid, whatever it is.
Mhm.
That is until Riley, played by the incredible Storm Reed, busts into her room and is like, "Come on, I have to show you something."
So it's
Later,
2 a.m. Want to come out?
yeah, and at first Ellie's like, "No," and then like Riley's like, "No, no, no, come." So they go to this abandoned mall, and the whole thing is Riley wants to show Ellie the four wonders of the mall. Again, there's a cat. There's a kitty.
Tony decided he wants to be part of the show today.
Tony, you're the fifth wonder of the mall.
He really is.
Riley wants to show Ellie the four wonders of the mall, and they're like, people on the internet are still shocked that those two kissed.
I'm sorry, but if
Baffling.
someone takes me out and says they're going to show me some wonders, like I watched Aladdin. I
To
know
say
how this
I've seen
goes. Like,
Aladdin. I can show you the world. Oh my god.
yeah, I knew where this was going. Sorry if you didn't have like your romance detectors on, but like we knew from the beginning where this episode was going. I mean,
And if you
yeah,
didn't, you know when you could have figured it out? When they're on the fucking carousel.
yeah. Look at this. This is not how best friends look at each other. This
Like,
this is Ellie is in love with this person, and I think that's like that's so well conveyed like throughout the episode. Like you literally have to be a homophobe not to see this in Bella Ramsey's acting. Like from the moment even Bethany is like, "Oh, your friend's not around to defend you." Like that's an immediate offense. That's the reason that Ellie punches that girl, because like this isn't a new crush, you know? Like this is a
yeah.
crush that Ellie's obviously been holding on to for a really long time.
Yeah, exactly. It is just, one of those things.
Mhm,
And we all know they're looking at each other on a carousel.
mhm,
Riley brought her to the mall and was like, I'm going to show you fun. Whatever. People are on the internet who didn't know that they were in love. I don't want to call you dumb, but you are. It's very obvious. Very obvious, like
sorry
right
that
out of the gate.
you're stupid. Like
Sorry if you mean, but the whole episode for the most part is like basically split between three parts almost. So it's like the beginning part where it's like Ellie getting in trouble in school, but then Riley taking her to this mall, them having fun, and then basically like the aftermath. So like they have fun for a really long time. They go and they play Mortal Kombat, and it's very clear like Riley has set all of this up so that they could have a really fun time together. Like she broke into the money, like the coin machine, so that they had coins to play the video games because obviously like there's no money.
mm,
And then got a $5 bill so they could take the photo booth picture, which is from the game. It was just like that part was really sweet because again, when we get to see Ellie kind of be a kid
yeah.
and experiencing like things that like teenagers get to, it's really sweet because we don't get to see it that much.
I agree. Yeah, I really I mean, like I knew it was coming and like anyone who knows basic storytelling kind of knew probably was coming. I mean, this is a post-apocalypse or an apocalypse show. Like generally we know what's coming to characters when they're happy. But it was
Or when they're not in it in the modern timeline, like
exactly.
clearly
It's like,
something happened.
this is setting up some tragedy. So yeah, but it was really cool. Like I love the depiction of the mall in this episode. Like it looks like an actual mall was there and like with no shade to Stranger Things or whatever, but like that was a fancy mall. Like that was a mall that like you could tell was a set, whereas like this one just like it had only been down for like 5 years because most malls look like crap right now. So
Yeah.
like they're only just coming back into the mall essence. So I'm used to malls go like I was the only thing that was different was that there were like overgrown shrubs in it, but like the abandoned stores, the broken down arcade, like that's just a mall. That's a mall right now. So
I love that. They also do like, in case you were wondering, like, oh, is Ellie a lesbian? They find a Victoria's Secret where they stand in front of them. They stand in front of the Victoria's Secret. They're both staring at it. Riley says to Ellie, "I pictured you wearing that," and Ellie, but like Riley doesn't say "ooh gross." Ellie goes "ooh gross," but it's like, and then Riley leaves, and Ellie is staring at this underwear, just kind of like, yes, this young
mm,
child doesn't have the words to figure out sexuality and like feelings because it is the post apocalypse.
yeah.
And so like I don't think Fedra's like, here's a book on sexuality. And so it is kind of like you're watching in real time Ellie kind of figuring out things about herself, even though I was like pretty sure she knew like Riley wasn't just like her best friend, like she had feelings for Riley,
Yeah.
but you are kind of like seeing it unpacked throughout the episode, which I think is like a really nice touch because like yeah, when you think about it, there are things that like these kids were never like didn't have the words for, couldn't express, and so she's figuring it out on her own as she's kind of walking around this abandoned mall.
And I mean, like again, this is we talked about it a little after episode 3, but this is a post-apocalypse reality or an apocalypse reality. They're really not post. They're pretty fresh.
They're pretty in it still.
Where like the last year of civilization was 2003. That was in the middle of like, don't ask, don't tell.
Mm-hmm.
That was not that far off from like the rampant homophobia of the early 2000s. And so they hadn't advanced as a culture to like get to the point of like gay marriage being legal. And so it's not a surprise, I think, that Ellie didn't like may not have had the right word for it.
Yeah, and I like how the show was doing it. Like it wasn't like she looked at it and like made a comment. She pauses and is staring at it, kind of like,
Hmm.
oh, like, do I like this? And like it, and it's like I liked how it kind of just like slowly was built in throughout the episode,
Yeah,
which is sad. The episode's sad.
it's very sad. Like it's not sad until the end, but like
But
it's
then it's very sad when you get
yeah,
there.
yeah,
I did see a tweet that was like Ellie's best and worst night of her life
yeah.
were the same
Basically,
night.
basically. I
Um,
mean, it's one of those nights where it's just like, as a Star Wars fan, when anything is going right for your favorite couple, you're just like, oh god, oh god, when's it gonna happen? When's it gonna hit? When is someone going to die? Like the moment you say "I love you," you're signing a death warrant.
Yeah,
So.
and in this show, like, so basically, like, they go to the arcade to get like, so one of the wonders of the mall is the arcade. After they take a picture together, which again, that's directly from the game. Another thing from the game is they like are playing these arcade games, and one of them is Mortal Kombat. And so it's really cute because it's Riley beats Ellie the first time around, and then Ellie, like, I think defeats Riley the second, and they're just like kind of having fun and they're playing this game. And
Mhm,
again, they have a moment where they both like pause, and you're like, oh my god, like they're gonna realize they like each other. And then Riley's like, oh well, let's go. And it's
mhm.
just like, no, this whole night could have gone so differently.
Yeah, and that's right around the time where the homophobic plant wakes up.
Yeah,
And that's
the
how I'm going
plant,
to describe him from
the
that from there
homophobic.
on. He's a homophobic plant. He could have just stayed there and minded his mushroom business, but he decided
But
to
he
be a
didn't.
homophobe and
Yeah,
go after these two young queer kids.
yeah. Ronald Reagan, the clicker, woke up and came in. Kids said like, so you can hear the noise in the distance.
Mm.
And I guess it woke him up and was like, oh, there's people in here. And so then Ronald Reagan comes running through the mall. He's like, uh, but you don't see him for like a really long time. You just know he's there. So it's like from that point on, it's like looming in the background that you know that there's an infected
Mhm.
homophobe in their midst. But you don't see him. And so then one of the surprises is it actually like a gift for Ellie. And so after the arcade, they go to where Riley has been camping out, which actually is like it's revealed that like as she's been working with the Fireflies, she's stationed in the mall. And like gives Ellie a pun book, like the no pun intended book. I think it's the second book. And they're like they trade off going back and forth with them for a minute. And then it is revealed that Riley is leaving because Ellie is like, okay, well, like I think they almost like kiss again, and then Ellie's like, all right, well, I gotta go, I gotta wake up,
Mhm.
and Riley keeps pushing, like, no, I want to show you all these things because it's revealed that she is being stationed in Atlanta and she's leaving, and Marlene, like Riley asked, can I bring Ellie with me? And Marlene was like, no, and so it's bad because Ellie gets mad and Riley's upset because it's like her friend doesn't care about the fact that she's leaving. Again, friend, quote unquote. And they get in like this huge fight about it because
Mhm.
Ellie is still kind of like on the fence about Fedra and the Fireflies and like where her loyalties lie because she's not in the same place that Riley is with it.
Mhm.
But it's sad. They get in a big old fight and
Yeah.
Ellie leaves, quote unquote, leaves.
Starts leaving.
Yeah,
Mhm.
like just starts a little march her way out
Mhm.
until she thinks she hears Riley getting attacked.
Mhm.
But it is revealed instead that actually Riley was just like crying in the last stop on the tour of Wonders of the Mall, which is
Mhm.
a Halloween store. She was like, oh, I thought you would have liked it the most because it's like weird and out there. and they kind of have like a not come to Jesus moment, but they kind of like have a conversation and are like, "I this is really like our last night. Like, let's have fun."
Hmm.
And so Riley gives Ellie a wolf mask, and Riley takes a clown mask on, and they're just like they're dancing.
Little scooch dance. They just have the neatest little dance sequence here, and it's just I love it. Like I think that okay, so growing up, we grew up with like tons of movies where like kids have their first love, like
Mm-hmm.
the earliest piece of trauma in my life was watching My Girl. um
They died because of the bees.
Yeah, because of the bees and bee sting. But like those kids kiss and stuff. Like, and it's like, it's wonderful, I think, to see like first young queer love in this way
Mm-hmm.
that like, we were pillaged with as children. And so, anyone who's calling for homophobia can come back to 8-year-old Katrina who watched Macaulay Culkin die after getting his first kiss because of a bee sting, and explain that to me and tell me how that's not sexualized, because it's not. It's kids
He went smooch smooch.
discovering, yeah, like having their first experiences in life and stuff like that. So
Yeah, and
I
they're
think
like
it's like,
14, so it makes sense. Or
yeah,
like Riley might be a little like older. I
teenagers.
think Riley might be like 15. But like they're 14, 15. Like that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, like most people, not me, but like most people,
I mean,
their first kisses around that age. Like, took me. I was a late bloomer. It's fine. It's okay. It's all right.
same.
Fine.
But most other people
Normal people
probably
had their first kisses in their teenage years.
not Podro
And
Pascal.
yeah.
Uh,
And so it's like
uh,
it's great to see this. I think the whole episode is just like this wonderful celebration of like, teenagers discovering what like love and feelings are, and it's great.
yeah, and so they do smooch, and it's very
Smooches.
sweet because it's Ellie takes her mask off, leans forward and kisses Riley, and I think that's at the point where they realize like no, like I'm gonna go with you, like we'll figure it out, we'll run away, like we'll do something.
Mm-hmm.
Until Ronald Reagan busts in the room. And he like they're fighting him, and you can tell like in the midst of this fight, Ellie gets the upper hand, and you can tell that she thinks she won.
Mm-hmm.
Because she's just like, holy shit, and doesn't realize she's bit. Granted, we know it doesn't matter, but like at the time, she didn't know that. She comes around to sit next to Riley, and Riley reveals she got bit. Ellie realizes she's bit, and it's sad to kind of see like these two who like were so happy to see each other, were upset like and felt betrayed, and then we're just so ready to run away with one another, kind of come to terms with the fact that's like, okay, well, all of that we just went through is for absolutely nothing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it hurts to watch. And it has a line that I think, as much as I love that Bill and Frank episode, I think this line is more heartbreaking because
Mm-hmm.
at least Bill and Frank, they had their life together. We saw their love story. We saw how it ended. These two, it didn't even get started.
Mm-hmm.
And so, as a refresher, the Bill and Frank line is objectively, it's incredibly romantic that they die together. And Riley says to Ellie, we can just be poetic and shit and lose our minds together.
Mm-hmm. So, but back on like my queer tangent though, I think
Wait,
that
no, 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 no.
tangent, but make it a little gay this time. Um, I think that like this show is like so unique in that we don't just get one queer story. Like
Mhm.
we don't get one linear story, and like we have these very different experiences, that like, we get to see one queer couple have all of this autonomy and make these decisions for themselves, and then these teenagers like have to like face desperation and the end of their lives so immediately. And I think it's so rare for a show to not only have like multiple queer storylines, but very, very different queer storylines.
Yeah, and it is like that's why I'm kind of glad that they made the change with Bill and Frank. Not because it would have been like bad in the
Yeah.
original way, but I think it like it makes it so it is two very distinct stories, and you get these two different relationships, and you kind of get to explore them, and they're both tragic in their own ways.
Mhm.
But I think it's just really, it's just sad, but it is well done.
Yeah.
kind of,
And
especially in this episode, how those two would have died together and would have been happy to do it
yeah.
had
I mean,
Ellie
and
not been a mutant.
yeah, that's the thing. You don't necessarily see like the end, but it's
Hmm.
implied, that like Ellie says before to Joel, like, this isn't my first time. And that implies that Ellie was probably the one who had to pull the trigger on Riley when she turned. But I also want to like highlight because some of the commentary that I've seen has been like, oh, the show is like burying their gays, blah, 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 blah. First, again, I want to highlight this is an apocalypse show. Almost everyone is supposed to die uh, in these shows. Like, I'm so sorry that the genre is not like evident to you, but like people die in zombie apocalypses. But yeah, like these aren't like this show isn't like resorting to the barrier gaze tropes. It's telling these like as full as they can be formidable stories about queer love. And I think that this has been like it's tragic, but it's handled beautifully.
Well, and I also think just like you said, people die. Also, there are not to spoil part two of the game, but like Ellie does get older and she's a lesbian.
Yeah.
So you get put two and two together and figure some things out. There are people who find love and like live their lives. Like we literally, had we had more time, we would have spent more time with Bill and Frank. We watched their entire lives. They spent 20 years together almost.
Yeah.
Um, it was less than that because it was a couple years after when Frank showed up, but like still, like spent a really long time together. This is the first where it was like, yes, Riley died, Ellie didn't, but it was also showing you her trauma.
Mm-hmm.
Because like clearly Ellie like has this pain, but we don't get to see it. And this was like explain that.
Yeah.
Um,
And it lends to how desperate she
yeah.
is to save Joel, like that's the whole point of this episode is that like Ellie refuses to lose another person that's important to her. It's why she chose Joel in the last episode. It's why she's going out of her way to not just leave like she has been made to so many times in the past.
That does ultimately like when she basically relives what happened, that's when she runs back inside. Um, she holds Joel's hand and basically is like, I'm gonna figure this out. And so
Yeah.
it's the two of them kind of just figuring out their like it was a journey in like Ellie because Joel has had that. We saw in the labs episode where he kept seeing Sarah and freaking out and thinking like, oh my god, I'm seeing my daughter again, like realizing he cares for Ellie, and this is Ellie's realizing she cares about Joel, and those two protecting each other. Next episode's gonna suck in a different way because it's a terrifying character.
Yes, yeah. Terrifying character, but also a very interesting side character is coming into this episode.
Mm-hmm.
Troy Baker, the voice of Joel, will be appearing in the next episode as an unnamed character, yet unnamed.
Yeah.
So yeah, like buckle in, kids, because it's gonna be a doozy this next one, which I guess we must say about every single episode.
Yeah, it's it's a doozy. It's a
Oh,
doozy.
oh,
It's a doozy. And yeah, and then we only have two left. And I would be like, wow, that's so sad, except Mandalorian starts on Wednesday,
right?
and we have the Mandalorian coming.
What a time to be alive. Like there is like no break from Pedro Pascal. And I
Listen,
guess none of us
if
are
he's
complaining.
listening to this, I know he's busy, but bro, do you know how hard it is trying to keep up with this stuff for this podcast? We didn't even talk about Graham Norton. I didn't get to watch Graham Norton yet.
He's had like what Seth Meyers, we barely touched that.
Oh,
Like
yeah, he did
it's
Seth Meyers, Graham Norton. Now he's doing interviews for Mando.
Then he's got a movie
Um,
coming out soon. Like
we can't rest.
we can't rest. We're working so hard for you guys. We're working so hard.
Working so hard, we can't rest. Is the movie the one with Ethan Hawke?
Yes, the one with Ethan Hawke.
Mhm.
I'm not sure if that's like filming or whatever, but it's coming up. It's on the
No, it's
docket.
done.
So
I think it's
yeah.
there's a lot coming out, guys. And there's a lot to do and a lot to talk about. And now it's time for everyone's favorite section of the week. Stash, 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 the stash, 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 the stash. The stash on everybody's lips is gonna be Petro's.
Hey.
Welcome to Stash of the Week, where we pick our favorite mustache of Pedro Pascal's. Well, he's not in this episode much unless we want this picture where he's looking dead. Or,
Sad baby.
we want to go back up here to a booty. of the
Not stashing that
arm
photo. Oh, arm. Oh,
or the
oh,
kiss.
stop it.
I had to do it. I do it
I
every
need to
episode, and I hadn't
remove
done it
that.
yet.
I need to remove
You
that
know you
image
don't
from
because I
our.
do it every episode. Um, but Stash of the Week, because he's not really in this, I think Katrina and I both have picked images that were from the set
Mm-hmm,
of The Last of Us. For me, I picked this one from Bella Ramsey's,
mm-hmm.
where it is very cinematic. He's outside in a nice warm coat,
Yes,
shot
yes.
on film, looking so cute.
Very good. Very good. Using safety,
Yeah,
using a mask.
COVID around his chin. We love to see
Mm-hmm.
it.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Wearing gloves. We love to see it. And
Mm-hmm.
Katrina,
Mine is this one where he's on the floor and he's like, "Oh God, I'm dying.
oh my
I'm
god, oh my god,
dying."
I'm dying.
No, I was my favorite.
Oh my god, I'm blooded. Oh my god.
There's like blood on my final. This
Oh
was
my
a special final. I got this from Zara.
oh my god, my Zara jacket is no. Oh my god, Frank Shaw. Frank Shaw is bloody.
It's a good stash. It's a very pale stash, but you know, whatever. He
It's there.
yeah, yeah,
It's
he's fine.
there,
And we know
as
he's
seen
fine now.
in this
So
one. As seen
yeah,
in this one.
Ellie's got him all stitched up. He'll have some continuing alive stashes.
But yeah, so overall, a very good episode, very sad episode, cry. And yeah, I like it a lot. I really do love the line, we can just be poetic and shit and lose our minds together.
It's so sweet.
It's very sad, but it's very sweet.
Mhm. Yeah, great episode. Terrified of next week, as I am of every week of this show, but we'll go through it together and it'll be okay.
And again, guys, it's gonna be a big old week, so maybe we'll have more episodes coming out this week because there's gonna be a lot to talk about.
Yeah,
But we have
watch.
at least one more episode this week.
Yes.
At least one more.
At least we're gonna be doing. I have no idea how we're gonna do this. Like
It's gonna be a busy couple of weeks.
yeah, for like the next 3 weeks, we're gonna have to do like 2 recaps per week because we have Mando coming out in a few days, and so that'll be like Mando on Wednesdays. When's The Last of Us? Sundays. Sundays not on The Last of Us that we'll watch whatever, record on Mondays. Mando comes out Wednesdays. And we're gonna just do our best to get as many episodes out for y'all as possible. And yeah,
Keep our
and
numbers
also thank you.
growing.
Yeah, thanks everyone who's been like following our Instagram. We were very surprised.
And it got 1,000,000 views.
A million views on our Vanity Fair episode. Thank you, producer Ashley, for your genius and for creating Instagram reels. But it's really cool. We're sitting at like a little over 4,000 followers, and we're just really thankful. And we hope that you enjoy the show and all of our hard work on the show and all of Ashley's hard work on the show and our socials. And yeah, really excited for the future.
We have just a reminder, we have a store on TeePublic. You can get some of this great merch. And also one thing we didn't talk about really quickly are these Flaunt magazine pictures.
Oh, look at that.
Damn.
Look at that. Whose father is that?
Damn. Oh, I almost said mine. No,
Father.
mine's dead. Mine's dead.
Mother.
Sarah Michelle Gellar did post this image, and it said, "When mother met father," from Buffy when Pedro Pascal was Eddie. You can follow Sarah Michelle Gellar to see that if you guys want, guys. It is a day and an episode.
I'm gonna go watch my hair now.
Yeah.
For reasons.
Follow us. You can follow the pod at Podro Pascal on Twitter and Instagram. You can like, rate, review, subscribe. Katrina, tell the people where they can follow you.
You can follow me anywhere if you look for Catrina. That's OHCATRINA. Anywhere on the internet. I am doing stuff. There's so much stuff. Good God, there's so much stuff. How about you, Rachel?
You can follow me at Rachel Leishman on Twitter, at Rachel_Leishman on Instagram, and you can follow my writing at the Mary Sue and Collider. I have a lot of stuff. I'm too tired to think of any of them. Yeah. But
Yep.
yeah, guys, check in this week to see how many episodes we drop. But until next time, bye
Bye bye.
bye.